All of us Ravens fans have been excited about Devin Duvernay's potential since he was drafted in the third round of the 2020 draft out of Texas. Mind you, if you don't know, he had over 100 catches and 9 touchdowns as a senior, so it makes sense. We were all hoping that we finally found a legit speedy wide receiver to threaten defenses vertically. And look, even though the numbers are not incredibly high after 2 seasons, I'll offer you that, he's only got 53 catches and 2 touchdowns in 2020 and 21 combined. I submit to you today that Devin Duvernay is ready to take advantage of more opportunities. No, I'm not saying he's better than Marquise Brown. They're different players. But I'm saying that he's put together enough plays, and I will kind of focus on one game in particular later in this video, Week 4 in Denver in 2021, to give us Ravens fans confidence that there's a 45 or 50 catch, 6 or 7 touchdown guy in there in 2022 who, in case you forget, can absolutely fly. So what we've done here is we've packaged plays together in order from 2020 and then into 2021, his 2 years in the NFL. Look, Duvernay's explosive. He's got a great burst. And also, this was a little surprising for me when I did look at the stats. He's got 53 catches in the NFL on only 73 targets. So that's a 73% catch rate if I did my math right. So let's imagine for a moment, this may be a little bit of a stretch, but let's imagine for a moment he gets 73 targets as a receiver this year in 2022. Maybe that number's a little high. Maybe it's only going to be like 65. But it is possible. Is there any reason for us to think that if he gets 73 catches this year, 73 targets this year, that he can't generate 53 catches on those opportunities and produce some big plays? Now you may say, Coach, he only averages 9 yards per catch as a receiver. He does average 10 yards per rush in his brief career on some jet sweep stuff. Look, if the Ravens end up betting on Duvernay, I feel comfortable. And look, let's be honest. The 2 pass-catching tight ends they drafted and all the undrafted free agent wide receivers are going to make it a competitive situation for everyone to try to vie for whatever's left over on that receiving bone after Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman chew through their 240 to 260 targets or so. I do not expect Andrews and Bateman to generate 299 targets like Brown and Andrews had last year. I don't. There's more than enough pass-catching talent that maybe Devin Duvernay only gets 40 targets this year. I mean, he had 47 targets last year. I don't see that number going down. Look, my point, I think 50 for 600 yards and 4 or 5 TDs is a reasonable goal if he gets those 70 to 75 targets. Now, our question is that the plan? I don't know. But if it is, I feel comfortable. And I feel excited to watch more of this. Duvernay makes plays, and he's made some people miss so far. I think his route tree's obviously been, limited. Not because he can't run every route, but because that's the role he's been asked to fill. There are times, however, when he's been open on certain routes and he's just been missed. I struggle to remember any real drops. You tell me if you do. To be honest, I don't. I don't remember any situations where the ball's delivered in a catchable location and Devin Duvernay dropped it. I just don't. I feel like he's got impeccable hands, and I don't feel like he's going to put the ball on the ground. If you remember one, let me know. He's great on special teams as a returner. This is a really well-executed return, if you ask me. You essentially get this double team down here between the numbers and the sideline, which I think is Brandon Stevens and Levine, while Geno Stone is essentially getting a kick-out block, giving a seam to Duvernay to try to burst through. He's really good on punt returns, and I think it's an asset. I hate phrases like gadget player because to me it's trying to put a player in a little box and keep him there, and Devin Duvernay is versatile. He's capable of moments like this. And I'm going to show you a play here in a moment that I think illustrates even further how versatile he is. Not only is he a good receiver, good special teams guy, great hands, strong, but he blocks well too. And in the moments when he's not blocking well or he gets a hold, it's not that he's not attempting to execute his job. He's just beat. But Devin Duvernay is going to give you what he has, and that's just better than what Marquise Brown did as a blocker. I have to say it. Let's give you one example of how the Ravens creatively used his speed and his threat as a jet sweep guy. He's going to go in motion. This is a PRO, not a run-pass option. This is a pass-run option. Lamar meshed with Tyson Williams. He's looking over here for Andrews, or I believe Sammy Watkins down at the bottom side of the screen. They're both covered. That's the pass element. So what he does is, he's the second option here. He's the run option. He's going to follow behind this cavalcade of blockers, one of which is Duvernay up here locking a guy up between the numbers and the sidelines. Let's get you the end zone angle so you can check out how many guys are in front once Lamar has decided not to throw the ball out here to Andrews on the shoot route or Watkins on the little snag concept. There you can see Duvernay, Tyson Williams, and 2 linemen out in front. Lamar keeping the ball. Very unique play. I think the Ravens only ran it 3 times last year to my recollection. They need to run it more. PRO, pass run option. Duvernay is a blocker out there on the edge on special teams as a returner. Just adds to his value if you ask me. Now let's look at what I believe might have been his most impactful game as a receiver, even though he only had 3 catches for 31 yards. Denver in week 4. He took it to Broncos' highly touted corner, Patrick Surtain Jr. You may not remember, but Duvernay, he took it to him. He beat him on a slant one-on-one on a 3rd and 6. And it's going to show here in a moment. Now, Duvernay's got this guy beat, and Lamar just overthrows him a little bit. Anyway, let's get to the play that I really want to talk about that I still remember. 3rd and 6, Duvernay soloed up one-on-one against Patrick Surtain Jr. Mark Andrews is on the field. Marquise Brown is up there on the field. I think Prochet's in the slot. Lamar has the option to run himself, possibly, even though they're bringing heavy pressure. He goes to Devin Duvernay one-on-one backside with a guy with a huge reputation who played really well last year. Lamar Jackson trusts Duvernay. Now, Bateman wasn't healthy yet. I get it. Watkins wasn't on the field. But to me, that says more than just one 3rd down instance. This is a beautifully designed play where Le'Veon Bell is essentially it's a downfield screen, which is weird and unique, whereby they were throwing the ball short on a 3rd and long to Duvernay. He's got the speed and explosiveness to get around the edge after a design block by Le'Veon Bell on the corner, which is the number 1 guy from the sideline. Now, you're going to see a flag thrown. They picked this flag up because they recognize this was a perfectly executed block by Le'Veon Bell and a great call by our coaches. We converted a field goal on the very next play. Look, Duvernay has the ability for them to install plays like that. Is that a gadget play? I don't know what it is, but it's a smart play. They tried to utilize it again, I think, against Minnesota later on in the season, and they only got 6 or 8 yards. I believe that there's a possibility Duvernay could come out here as a number 3 receiver. If we don't sign a big free agent wide receiver, Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry, any of those guys, they'd have a positive impact. I think Devin Duvernay can make tough catches like this one. Over the middle, over concept, where everybody's looking for us to go to Mark Andrews, and instead we hit Duvernay. He makes a sliding catch underneath the 2 defenders. Had a big impact in week 4 and week 5. If you ask me, I think he had 5 catches for 45 yards against the Colts here in week 5. Of course, Rashad Bateman gets healthy in week 6, and Duvernay was kind of limited and inconsistent in terms of snaps on offense and targets thereafter. And being as how draft season just ended and we got all our guys in the building that we drafted, hopefully, let's not forget Duvernay ran a 4.39 at the combine after he left his senior season at Texas. 4.39. Where would he have been drafted this year in this receiver class? I don't know. Maybe the Ravens wouldn't have drafted him, right? That's an excellent point to make. But Devin Duvernay has the ability to touch the ball 50 to 60 times next year on some of these run concepts like this, or on pass concepts, designed little screens. If we had given him the ball down in Miami on those 5 or 6 little screens that we threw to Marquise Brown, if we had given the ball to Duvernay instead of Brown, we could have popped a couple of bigger plays. Now, look, this is a wall punt return. I broke this down after the Week 6 win over the Chargers. If you're unfamiliar with the concept, I'll touch on it a little bit here. Devin Duvernay's perfect for the wall because as a returner, you got to take the ball to the wall, and as a blocker, you got to take the wall to the ball. Yes, I did say that right. Rewind it, check it out. All right, the concept here is Duvernay's got to catch the ball and get it to the wall. So you got 3 guys here blocking between the hash and the sideline. Their job is to be a wall, allow no defender to get between them and the sideline. Duvernay's job is to take it outside the wall, get it to the sideline. Now, the problem is Oliver back here misses his block. The guy's kind of tough to see. He was on the insignia in the middle of the field, and he's the guy who eventually forces Devin Duvernay to run out of bounds. The same guy who made the All-Pro and Pro Bowl teams and led the league with 13.8 yards per punt return can also give you stuff like this down in the red zone. A beautiful catch where Lamar throws this exactly where he wants it to be, just so you know. He intentionally threw that behind him to keep it away from that safety number 23. Duvernay goes up and finishes the play. Just beautiful. The versatility is there. He played in an offense at Texas where they threw thousands of balls at those guys. Like I said, 106 catches his senior year. He's really great on stuff out like this. I think he's a perfect complementary player in this offense. Now, how does he fit, in a spread concept? If we were to be in 11 personnel a lot, I mean, he can play in the slot. He catches the ball. He holds on to the ball. It's been well documented that he doesn't fumble. He's got great hands, if you ask me. Like I said earlier, find me some plays where he drops the football. 3rd and 5 here, he's able to go over the middle, make a catch, and then take contact, still hold on to the football. 2 really well-designed and well-executed plays here in Chicago, our 16-13 win. Duvernay's in the slot, the number 3 receiver. This is essentially just the same concept, a bubble screen where we're getting the number 1 and number 2 receivers out in front A beautiful adjustment we made against Chicago late in the game. We had been hitting them with Freeman out into the flats. This time what we did was run Duvernay on like an outside release up the sideline. I'm going to rewind it and let you check it out. There's Freeman run out into the flats. The curl flat defender is expanded. He does make contact with Duvernay and then runs right past Duvernay because he's looking for us to get the ball to Freeman again. I believe Freeman has 6 or 8 catches that day. Duvernay is now 24 years old, entering his 3rd season. Same offensive coaching staff. Basically, I think T. Martin and Keith Williams had a great impact last year. I do. I thought the passing game was improved early in the season up through probably our first 8-9 games. We did hit a wall there, obviously, once Lamar went out for the season. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm excited to see a guy like Duvernay get more opportunities like this. That's another 3rd and long. We were unable to get a first down or get close enough to go for it, obviously. He's got the explosiveness, the size, the strength, the hands, reliability. I think he's where he's supposed to be on time. The blocking skills, the physicality. He doesn't get bumped off his routes. That's one thing that I think is worth mentioning. Devin Duvernay does not get out-physicaled easily. I haven't seen it happen in any of the film that I watch, which you can tell is, pretty substantial amount of film. I tried to give you guys film from 2020 and 2021 and make this video as entertaining as possible. Let me know if you guys are as excited as I am to see Devin Duvernay get some opportunities and maybe move up that ladder and going from a number 4 or 5 receiver to a number 3 4 guy. Now, if the news coming out today, Friday afternoon, is true, that we're seriously looking at Jarvis Landry, then maybe that changes things. Duvernay can still provide positive impact to this team offensively and on special teams. If you've given any thought to ever joining my Patreon, myself and a couple other guys will be in there Friday night discussing the Ravens draft, specifically discussing guys like Charlie Kohler and Isaiah Likely. I put out a couple of videos on Kyle Hamilton earlier this week on Twitter. Hopefully you guys are able to check them out. I'll put a link down in the description. Let me know what you guys think of my film breakdown, obviously, and how I broke down the plays and the way I tried to package them together to provide you information and proof, in my opinion, that Devin Duvernay is ready to make the leap. Secondly, let me know what you think of Devin Duvernay's skills, as we enter 2022 anyway. Offensive line is going to be vastly improved. That should be obvious. Defense will be improved as well. I think this team is ready to jump off. I think Devin Duvernay is one of those guys, to be honest with you. If you have a different opinion, I want to welcome you to offer that opinion. By all means, there might be some plays that I forgot that cast Devin Duvernay as in a more negative light. I didn't intentionally omit plays where I thought he performed poorly. There was a couple of holds in 2021 as a blocker that I didn't see fit to show. Look, Devin Duvernay has all the capability that we need if we choose not to go out there and get a Jarvis Landry. There was a couple of people who mentioned on some of my other videos this week that maybe it would be a good idea to just start the season with who we have and then possibly acquire a DK Metcalf or some of those other guys mid-season when some of our draft picks actually have more value. I appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and like and comment to help this video get pushed out to larger audiences.